Um, okay. So, hello. I am here going live again. Sorry that I was an hour late, but yeah, I think someone commented like down below being like, I think I might be on the wrong day, so sorry about that. So yeah, I guess I'll just start. So yesterday I'll just do a little review about what I talked about yesterday, and then oh yay, hi Frank, I'm glad you're back. Sorry about the um being an hour late, but I'm happy to see that you're back. So hello, welcome. Yeah, so I was yeah, I'm just gonna like so yesterday I like started going over the documents from the Delphi stuff or Delphi stuff and got to page like 23 of the documents. And so today I was planning on finishing or trying to like go a little bit more into that further, kind of the same way that I was doing it yesterday. But also I wanted to that's very true, Frank. Like, I'm usually like yeah, I'm trying to be better about being on time, but also like what is time, you know? Um, so yeah, but I wanted to look into also something that someone commented on yesterday. Someone named Chuck was in here, and as I was like going through the very beginning of the documents from the like defense that was filed, he mentioned something about one of the like three whistleblowers, Detective Fency. It's spelled like Fenesy, I believe. And I hadn't heard about that. He said who murdered Detective Fency, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but so I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. I should look into that later. So I did, and I looked into it this morning, and pretty crazy. Like I had no idea about this, but so he one of them was murdered. One of the three whistleblowers that worked on the case was murdered. And they arrested the guy who did it, and the guy was actually a correctional officer that worked at Terre Haute. I see. I don't know how to pronounce that either, but this is like the only federal bureau of prisons. I actually applied there for my like doctoral internship. It's the only like Bureau of Prisons to have the death penalty, and it's in Indiana. So I like actually like drove by it like pretty recently, and I was like, oh, crazy, Terre Haute. That's like where the prison is, whatever. So this guy that killed, that murdered Detective Fency actually was a correctional officer at this Bureau of Prisons. So just that's like a very way too weird coincidence. Like if you think about the fact that the two people that they're accusing in the documents, like the two correctional officers that work where Richard Allen is currently being held like within an Indiana prison, like that they are there's just like a connection there. So that's pretty crazy. So I don't know. I figured I'd just spend a little bit in of like the beginning time like reviewing just a couple of the articles like that I found about his murder. And then they go into a little bit about this dude's background, the correctional officer that murdered him. So this guy, he was like, I think he was like considered part of the Unified Command, that kind of like bullshit group that they made up that was like, supposedly in charge of like the leads on the like Delphi murder detective or investigation. And this was the one FBI agent, I believe, that was involved on well, actually, let me check. Um, so Frank says the officer who done the polygraph, yeah, on the sister who stated he was involved. Oh, oh, yeah. So I mean, he was obviously like probably pretty like instrumental in like really like raveling or like unearthing some of these things, and obviously the people that like the defense is now accusing had major motive to like kind of, if even not just vengeance, to like try to murder him. So but yeah, I'm looking now at like I'm gonna look at who they listed as the Unified Command and see exactly the people who they considered to be in this like Unified Command thing. Because I'm pretty sure there was just one FBI agent and it's probably him. Oh, weird. Okay, here it is. So it says from the FBI, Rich Davies. Oh, okay. So I guess he wasn't part of the Unified Command. Still, I think he was like one of the 3 people that were the whistleblowers. But let me double check that too. Or maybe that's not important. So, oh wait, here we go. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So here it says, not only did the prosecution withhold that letter from the defense, but law enforcement also withheld several other exculpatory pieces of evidence, including an 85-page compilation of reports by Click prepared in 2019 and several videos containing statements that support the defense's theory of Richard Allen's innocence. This 85-page report detailed the investigative work performed by Click, Ferenczi, Murphy, and others, including the FBI. Damn. That's so fucked up. Okay, so yeah, so let's read about his murder. So it says he was shot outside of the FBI offices in Terre Haute, and that he was a 30-year veteran of the department. And he was a member of the FBI task force since 2010, or of an FBI task force since 2010. And obviously, a task force is like something that they're not going to disclose until it's like, done with by like 50 years or something. What? Oh my God. Chuck, Chuck's back. Hey, Chuck, good to see you. Dude, that's crazy. So Chuck just said Stephanie Thompson. Okay, I can highlight these comments. Yeah, the officer who gave the lie detector test died in an arson with her daughter. Wow. That's scary. What the hell is going on? So it must be, is it these Odinists like that are all, is it just like a Hell's Agents, like Hell's Angels type group, like a white supremacy, just huge gang that's like under investigation by the FBI? And I don't know, this is kind of crazy. Okay, so yeah, Ferenczi was also a member of an FBI task force since 2010, and I bet it probably had something to do with, well, maybe not, I don't know, who knows. But that task force could have had something to do with like looking into some of these like organizations. So it says that he was outside of the offices of the FBI, and that, or no, he was walking out of the offices and he was ambushed. He was like a Molotov like cocktail was thrown at him, and then he was shot, and he responded by shooting back. And then there was like another agent that was around, and then they also started shooting back. And so then the suspect like went down to, and they both went to the hospital, and both were like out of it and unable to give statements. But the suspect recovered, and the detective Greg Ferenczi did not. So I'll Be Frank says, are not Odinite more extremists clinging on lots of 3 Mason posts? After searching them, they are not Odinite more extremists clinging on a lot of 3 Mason posts. I don't know anything about 3 Mason, but I'll look into it. But I can imagine 3 Masons probably have something to do with like Masonins. And that's interesting. Okay, so that's weird also, because I have with my Idaho 4 like deep dives that I've been doing, Like, I've been finding, like, a lot of these, like, secret societies, like, a lot of connections, like, like, the Nazis had, like, a lot of, like, Mason ties, like, I mean, that's, like, ancient society stuff going back to, like, like, the beginning of I think they were, like, architects and I don't know, like, way back in the day, like, Greek stuff, and then it, like, has kind of just been around since then, and they've always had, like, weird rituals and stuff, like, I feel like that's kind of like those books that Dan Brown wrote that like Tom Hanks was in. They were like super popular a long time ago. I can't remember the names of them, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so sorry for going off on a little side note there. So it said, yeah, an update Wednesday morning. Keen said the suspect arrived before Forensi left the building and shut the officers. He came outside. And inside, the agent heard the gunshots, went outside, fired the suspect. He was hit. They went down. He went into custody. He wasn't able to give a statement. He will face federal charges because the shooting occurred on federal property, and search warrants were executed at his home and evidence was collected. And then the Indiana State. Oh my God, this Doug Carter dude. What was Doug Carter's deal? Okay, so he's also in the defense report, this Indiana State Police Superintendent, and I feel like he was maybe a bad guy, like in my mind in the report. But we'll go back to the report and try to remember it. So remember Doug Carter when he said that Ferenczi was a good man. We lost a true public servant today, and I don't say that as a cliche statement. We owe Greg a debt of gratitude that will likely never be able to be repaid. Thank you, Carter. Oh, he said, this is the third Terre Haute police officer to die in a very violent way in the last 10 years. I'm wondering what the other two are. Maybe Stephanie Thompson is one of them. It's not a good time to be a police officer in America, he said, but this is an example of someone who would die for someone who hates who they are. We're not bad people. Oh my God. Okay, we want to extend our deepest sympathy to TFO, Ferenczi's family, friends, and fellow officers, Keenan said. The suspect, who hasn't been identified, was shot by an FBI agent. The suspect is in custody at a hospital and receiving medical attention. Carter said the FBI is investigating the incident because of where the shooting happened. Yeah, on their property. The FBI and the chief of the Terre Haute Police Department are expected to provide more information on the case Thursday, Carter said. The incident is still under investigation, trying to answer several remaining questions, Carter said. That's so shady. Like, why is this Carter dude talking about this? And it's just interesting that they're like, oh, we need more time. Like, what? To make sure that you can, like, cover up a bunch of stuff and make sure you don't have any, like, loose ends out there? Like, I mean, they obviously probably knew that this guy was, like, a correctional officer at that point. I don't know. That's pretty weird. But it is interesting that the FBI, like, were also investigating. Like, I would, be surprised if the FBI, like, all of them were in on it, but who the fuck knows? Keen said the shooting is under investigation by the FBI's inspection division, which is in accordance with the FBI policy. He said the review process is thorough and objective and is conducted as expeditiously as possible under the circumstances. There are going to be a lot of questions, as there should be. Please don't speculate on what those answers might be and understand that there could be information out there that's not completely accurate, he said. Oh my God, that's crazy that he's saying this. Oh, okay. Frank says that Doug Carter has done very well for himself since this case broke, from nobody to multiple promotions. What the fuck? Yeah, I think I did see his name like go up like a level or something like in that like report too from the defense. Like, yeah, like he had gotten promoted. Well, so who's doing the promoting of him? Because like where does this how far up or deep does this go? You know what I mean? But like these statements that he's saying right now, like from his comments on this Detective Ferenczi, like Doug Carter, what he's saying about it, it seems a little bit suspicious. Like he's kind of like listen to this statement. He's like, there are going to be a lot of questions, as there should be. Please don't speculate on what those answers might be and understand that there could be information out there that's not completely accurate. Dude, that's bullshit. Like, please don't speculate on what those answers might be. Why? Like, what are you doing? Like, how do crimes get solved? Like, of course, you're going to speculate. Like, that's the point of it if you don't know what's going on, you know? And he's like, and understand that there could be information out there that's not completely accurate. Like, duh, but it's probably coming from you guys. I mean, he's almost like prepping people to not listen to when the truth comes out to me. That's what it sounds like to me. So, yeah, and he says, I think after tomorrow, when you hear from the special agent in charge of the FBI here in Indianapolis and from the Terre Haute police chief, you'll get some more fact. Not what they think. You deserve to know what we know, not what we think. The shooting in Terre Haute comes just hours after 3 law enforcement officers were shot in Chicago. I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. We look around the country and it seems like it's happening every single day, and I don't know when it's going to stop, Carter said. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. What? This guy is like totally just trying to play a victim in all of this and like twisting it around to try to get like sympathy and like more money for like, you know, feel bad for us police officers. Like, what the hell? Anyways, so okay, I guess you can read the full statement from the FBI Indianapolis special agent in charge, Paul Keenan, below. Said at approximately 2:15 p.m., FBI Task Force Officer Greg Frenzy was ambushed and fatally shot at the FBI Indianapolis resident agency in Terre Haute. TFO Frenzy was a 30-year veteran of the Terre Haute Police Department and had been a federal task force officer since 2010. Okay, yeah, they already said that. An FBA agent shot and wounded the suspect who is currently in custody receiving medical attention at a local hospital. Yeah, it's saying that it's under investigation by the inspection division with the FBI. And then the governor issued a statement. The tragic events that unfolded today are senseless, our heart breaks, blah, 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 blah. Janet and I are thinking, God, like politics are so annoying. And then Indiana Lieutenant Governor said, Susan Crouch, it's kind of like an unfortunate last name. Well, I guess maybe Crouch isn't. Maybe I'm thinking of Grouch. That's funny. Okay, I want to send my heart. Okay, none of this matters. So, cool. And then, another article is what we know. So they did end up finding out who the officer or who the person that killed them or whatever, killed him. So I will share that screen, and that's when it talks about what his deal was. Okay, hold on, sorry. Share screen. What we know. Okay. All right, so it says what we know about Shane Meehan, the man accused of killing Terre Haute Detective Greg Ferency. It says WRTV, which is like the article that this is from, is learning more about the man accused of killing a Terre Haute police detective Wednesday. Shane Meehan, 44, faces a charge of premeditated murder of a federal agent. Court documents say Meehan threw a Molotov cocktail at the building when Terre Haute Police Department and FBI Task Force Officer Gregory Ferency walked out of the building. Meehan confronted him and shot him. WRTV has learned Meehan worked at the Federal Corrections Complex in Terre Haute from 2005 to 2017. That's interesting that he stopped working there in 2017 when like the murders took place. They said that he was a corrections officer. Indiana online court records show 2 past charges against Meehan, one for public intoxication and one criminal trespassing charge. I wonder what that was about. Both were filed in Marion County in May 2013. Okay, so okay, but so if they were filed together, then he probably was just like drunk, like on someone's property or like causing a ruckus or something. Oh, and it says the charges were ultimately dropped. Surprise, surprise. Like, okay. I'll be Freak says, what happened to the DNA they claim to have? What, the DNA for who? So it says, oh, this is kind of weird. What? Okay. So also in 2019, Meehan ran as an independent candidate in the Terre Haute race for mayor. The Associated Press reports Meehan received less than 1% of the vote. Wow. Okay, so one thing that I remembered that I was okay, I do remember. So another article that I read said that they were not going to seek out the death penalty against Meehan because they were submitting a bunch of information that was showing that he was mentally ill. So yeah, that would be something that I'm gonna look into that and follow back up again the next time that I come on. And look into kind of like what they're like insinuating in terms of like what Meehan's mental illness might be. Like I think it also says that he might have been a veteran. So possibly some like PTSD, a lot of people from the military, like after they get done doing however long I think however long their contract is sometimes, and then once they get done, a lot of times they'll go to correctional facilities because you don't need like any type of education besides, I think you might not even need a high school education, but maybe you do. um and they like the fact that you have military experience because it's kind of like the same, obviously, like mentality or like, law enforcement, like military type system. So, um, but yeah, the fact that he ran as, oh, dudes, you guys. So, okay, if he stopped working, oh my God, this is weird. Okay, this is definitely like conspiracy, like going kind of out on a limb, but like if this dude stopped working at that prison in 2017 when the murders went down, like maybe he kind of like lost his mind, like potentially maybe he was involved in those murders, kind of lost his shit, ended up like going crazy, and like then decided to run for mayor because he was like, maybe like grandiose and manic or something. And like obviously he received less than 1% of the vote, so he doesn't seem very like grounded in reality, possibly. I mean, so it'd just be interesting. But it is weird that he targeted him, like he waited for him to come out. So a lot of times, and just like what I was saying yesterday with that Elvis guy, um, okay, Frank says they requested Paul Etter's DNA when he unalived himself and put out a public request for people to come forward. Okay. Oops, shit. Um, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna take a couple of notes and then I'm gonna like follow up on this stuff and then probably like come back on, like tomorrow or another day or something and like talk more about these. Because I feel like if I sit here and like search for stuff like at the time, then it's kind of like dead silence, and it'd be better for me to like do just some research and then follow up with like more of the conversation about it. But yeah. So any hoozles, I want to look up Paul Etter's DNA. I don't know who Paul Etters is. And then what was the other one? Stephanie Thompson. Okay, cool. But yeah, yesterday, I was like talking about how like a lot of the times these gangs or like in the prisons too, they'll take advantage of people that are like a little bit, mentally unstable or have low IQs and maybe have certain types of like brain injuries or like emotional regulation issues. And like, so they'll use them kind of like as their little like, like runners and like if you need someone to like deliver like 10 like pounds of like coke from, you know, Las Vegas to Minneapolis or something, like you get kind of like the lower down on the wrong dumb person to do it, because if they get pulled over, like there's like so much, so many charges against it. Anyway, I'm sure that you guys understand what I'm saying. So knowing that this Meehan dude, who's obviously a little bit kooky, I don't know why I'm like so much up on the fact that he ran for mayor in 2019, but it just seems like a little ridiculous to me. It seems like someone who's probably like, just kind of ridiculously and like ridiculous and like stable, and being like, I'm gonna run for mayor, and then he receives less than 1% of the vote. So like obviously it was just like super delusional. Um, and this is the guy now that this gang like had go do their dirty work for, like to like avenge their like fallen brothers, like with, I don't know, you know what I mean? So anyways, okay, so I'll be frank says, two of the accused were ex-military as well. BH, and I forgot the other. Brad Holder. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so two of like, because yeah, the defense is like accusing, I think, is it 4 or 5? Suspects. Brad Holder's one of them, and then I bet it's like, I think was Elvis ex-military? I feel like maybe Elvis was ex-military, and I think, yeah, I can't remember, but for some reason I want to say like he did go to the military, but then things didn't go very well, and that's kind of when he came home, like, and like just sounded like he struggled like from then on out. So like maybe something happened to him in the military, but yeah. And then Paul says, Paul Edders was on the run, and strong evidence linked him to multiple SA. Oh, interesting. Wait, but who is Paul Edders like to this case? Like, yeah. Yeah, I agree, Frank. Frank said, I think Elvis has the mind of a child and mimic BH, so maybe that came from there. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. He did really have like, yeah, did they say that he was like maybe like the functional level of like an 8-year-old or something? I don't know if I just made that up in my mind, but I think I remember hearing that. Um, so yeah, oh yeah, and I'm gonna follow up more on this dude. What's his name? The suspect is named Shane Meehan. And I'll look more into like details about like what they're claiming in terms of mental illness and stuff. Um, yeah. It is kind of crazy, like in the prisons, like how many mentally ill people there are. Like a lot of, people that are committing those types of crimes are obviously just not functioning very highly, like in terms of just like overall well-being, I guess, like in life. So I feel like it would be, to me, it seems like everyone is kind of like mentally ill probably in prison. And they do say like the prisons that like now kind of act as like a like just new mental health system. I mean, and like back in like the 80s, like when Reagan, like he did that thing, what was it? He like was like, okay, I have all of the communities take care of each other. Like we'll just like, it doesn't need to be the government. Like we need to just help each other out. Like, and so he stopped funding for like all of these homes that like were like supportive services for people that were like mentally ill or like just had a little bit more of a harder time, like, adapting or like functioning like highly. And then they all became homeless. And then also the prison population like increased like exponentially like when that happened. So it is almost seems like it's just sad to like see things like at a broader level and to see how much things can really influence, you know, just who's in prison and how people are acting and why. Like, why are people committing crimes, you know? It's just interesting to consider those things. Um, wait, who unalived himself? Oh, Paul Edders did. Okay. 3 Christmas DNA after Anna. Okay, I'll look more into that because I don't know. I don't think I know what you're talking about, Frank, with the Paul Edders. Um, thank you. So yeah, let's see what else. Okay, yeah, then they just talk then I found like another Fox 55 Fort Wayne article. I don't know if it's really like relevant or like it would be anything extra. Actually, yeah, this does kind of contain some relevant information. So I'm gonna share this screen too. I'm gonna say wait, yeah, share this tab instead. Oh, I like that it gives that option. Okay, cool. All right, so this is a Fox WFT. Oh, funny. It sounds funny. Okay, WFFT. And okay, it's written by the Associated Press. I guess he did what needed to be done, which like I don't even know. What does that even mean? What needed to be done? All right. He was ambushed, they say. Valued member of the FBI task for more than a decade. The agency's director said at the officer's funeral Tuesday. Damn, that's the FBI director spoke at his funeral. That's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, I guess he died, so that's nice. Terre Haute police detective Greg Frenzy worked on investigations ranging from drugs to counterterrorism during his 11 years on the task force. Okay, so they say worked on investigations ranging from drugs to counterterrorism during his 11 years. Okay, so those are like such broad things, like, you know what I mean? Ranging from drugs, which we all know that like gangs are like way involved in drugs. Like, I'm sure that these Odinites or these white supremacists have like hands in the drug trade too. Um, and counterterrorism, like that could also be like counterterrorism of what? Like, I mean, they're considering like Hell's Angels, they consider those terrorists, you know what I mean? Like we actually have more of an issue of like inter-terrorism like within our country than like without it, or like with people coming into our country being terrorists than we do. We have more problems with people being terrorists from the inside than we do from people coming in. So like that could also be talking about working on some of the stuff with these Odinite people. So it says to his FBI teammates, Greg was the guy. What? Okay. Ray said he did whatever needed to be done. Never said no. He always had your back. Okay. He did what need. Oh, okay. Frenzy 53 was killed after blah 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 blah. It is in a city roughly 70 miles west of Indianapolis. The 30-year police veteran and an FBI agent both fired on the attacker, wounding him. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, he's the dad of 18-year-old twins, gregarious friends, and eager mentor for younger officers. He sounds nice. Police Chief Sean Keene said he first met Frenzy because they lived across the street from one another. Cute. And then after he joined the department, Frenzy helped him out as a young detective more times than I can count. It sounds like he was very helpful. He also never treated me like I was stupid, even when I was, Keene said. Okay. The suspect gunman, 44-year-old Shane Meehan, is charged with premeditated murder of a federal agent. Investigators haven't disclosed a possible motive for the attack. Well, I can tell you what a possible motive might be. Okay, so that's that. Okay, last thing that I'm gonna show with referring to Greg Frenzy, but I hope that I feel like we're gonna like hopefully get to the bottom more of this all. But this is really interesting. So anyways, this is his obituary. And it says he has a kid, these twins. His mom and dad were both alive. It sounds like he has an ex-wife. And it says he was a detective for Terre Haute and an FBI agent. He was the editor of SWAT Digest. Okay. So he obviously was like super into SWAT. Okay. Chief instructor for the International Tactical Officer Training Association. Chief instructor for the International Tactical Officer Training Association. That sounds so important, but I bet it's probably kind of lame. But chief instructor, that sounds like very important position of an international tactical officer program. Yeah. Yeah. And he served on the Vigo County Drug Task Force, and he was a consultant at Engel Ballistic Research. Huh. He was an avid reader who loved to travel. He was a friend to all whom he met or whatever. Okay, cool. Sweet. So, R.I.P. Greg Ferency. Okay, so I'll go back to the document then. Let me just like switch my thing. Okay. Oh, that's like not a great angle. Okay. I'm gonna like back this up a little bit. It's too close. All right, so back to, okay, this doesn't have the fucking highlights. What the hell? Damn it. Sorry. Where the fuck would that be? I'm very disorganized when it comes to, okay, this should be it. Oh, did I share it? Yeah, it's the desktop. Let's try this one. Why? Oh, fuck. Oh no, that sucks. I might have lost the document that has the highlights. I don't know, you guys, damn it. Well, okay. Well, maybe I'll just end this here now. Sorry, it's like not going. I think maybe I'll have this be the update for the Detective Greg Ferency stuff. And then I'm going to like spend a little bit of time and hopefully try to find the document that has all the highlights because it's 136 pages and it was like definitely nice to have just the highlighted portions to be able to touch on when I was reviewing it because like not having that would take like forever. And I'd basically be reading it while I was on here, which would be boring for everyone. So, yeah, so I'm gonna hopefully find that, and then I'll also follow up on the Stephanie Thompson, the this Paul Edders dude, and whatever else. Oh, the Meehan like mental illness stuff, and then I think I'll schedule like another live, and I promise I'll be on time next time. I promise. But yeah, but I don't know when that will be. So keep your eyes open for it. But it'll either be like later. It'll probably be tomorrow or for sure Monday, if not tomorrow, but probably tomorrow. So, but thank you all, especially shout out to I'll be frank and Chuck, I appreciate you both, and I really, yeah, like to hear this like information that I don't know about. So thank you for sharing and thank you for being here. But yeah, hopefully see you guys in the next one, and yeah, have a good Saturday. All right, bye.